Alright guys, so welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator 26 demo. So keep in mind this is demo. Full release is not out yet, and there is no release date that's been confirmed as of this recording, which would be in the middle of June. So if you haven't seen my previous video, I would recommend you watching that. It might be a little bit boring, but I kind of go over a lot more stuff in detail as far as how the shop works, how things move, and some of our features. We messed with our personal truck for a minute. So now I haven't even actually moved. I'm still standing in the same spot. So now we're going to go ahead and take that job that I was looking at earlier. So this is going to be the Luxor Streamliner MK3. It's a 1996. And so the issues to fix. So hello, recently I noticed that the Luxor's braking is worse and worse. While you're at it, please check the steering system. Other than that, it's probably a routine oil service. Thank you. And it's also going to hear they're going to be wanting an oil change, and there's other tasks as well. So we'll just kind of see what those are coming into. This is one of 3 jobs you can do in the demo, and then that's pretty well all you can do as far as jobs. And after that, you can just kind of mess with your truck. I actually did almost a full rebuild on that one as well, which I could probably show later. So by collecting that, it did that. Also, you can see at the top left, it says new cars at the pickup point. So the pickup point is in front of the customer entrance. So it's gonna be down over here. I'm gonna go ahead and hold down shift. We'll do a little jog and get over here to this thing. But this is the car, and we already pretty much kind of have an idea of what this thing is going to need. So when you walk up to the car, you can right click on the door and you can open up the car status. Now they added more stuff here. This is something I couldn't get into yet. So now they show the actual year, the mileage, the weight, rear wheel drive, or whichever drivetrain it is, the origin of the vehicle, which is just from emission, how much fuel is in this. And I talked about this in the last video, but depending upon which mode you're playing in, once the full release comes out, if you have it selected, vehicles will use fuel over time, so you'll have to buy fuel. So knowing how much fuel in this is kind of important. The configuration compliance is 99%. So what this means here, this is in one mindset, this is kind of like the vehicle being safety compliant, is basically what it comes down to. So it would basically pass, say, a safeties test, probably not emissions, but safeties. Anyways, we carry on. It tells us what kind of engine it's got in here with the power and torque, the stock wheels, front and rear. I can't even talk. And then the tires as well, same way. This here is important if you're doing a rebuild and you want the most money out of that restoration. And then it talks about the condition of the parts, which is pretty similar to 4. And then you have your usual engine detail. This is similar to what we had in 21, but just kind of spruced up a little bit. It shows you the available engines, and you can press C and you're supposed to be able to change the engine family so you can see more engines. I think in the demo they're just not showing us all of them yet. We can look at the parts individually now from here, and what's kind of neat with this is you can actually sort this by, do you want to look at just engine parts, brake parts, gearbox, you know, so on and so forth. So we know this guy says something about the brakes, so we already know that a couple of parts are going to need to be replaced. Definitely going to need to be replaced. He even says something about, I think he says something about the steering or the gearbox. So gearbox, we know nothing yet. And suspension, we know just a little bit. Of tie rods, oh yeah, those got to go. So you can actually sort this by that if you're wanting to make life a little bit easier on yourself and speed up the issues. Issues to fix, this is similar to what we had before, just changed a little differently. The main task, they already told me what to fix, which is nice. And then the oil change, it just obviously an oil change. And then other tasks we didn't know until now. They want new brake fluid, and they want to refill the windshield washer fluid. Pretty simple stuff. And then you have your basic car summary, kind of like before. So we know we're going to be in this one mostly, so we're going to mess with that. Now another thing to note is, you notice down here it's got a unmarked all. What you can do is you can either click this little magnifying glass. I had to think for a second. And if you click those, it will show the part on the vehicle. I don't think it'll show it right now. We got to be in like repair mode. So let's see if we can go into this. See, there it is right there. This is obviously for easy mode too. Y'all know me, I normally play in expert mode when I can. So there's that. And so we're going to unhighlight that. Now you can also add this to your shopping list. So we know we need 2 of those. So let's do that. And then I'm going to hit my tablet, do my right button. So you see how it shows that I got stuff in here for this vehicle. And I can do it through the main shop or the engine shop. So if I go here and I hit tab, and it moves me into this one here. Now this is, you got to finalize your purchases, and we'll go through this as we go. We can show our shopping list, and now it shows my 2 brake disc ventilated that I need. And then I can just click that, I can grab that, and I can add those 2 to my cart, and now it puts a line through it. Once this part gets here, it'll be removed from this list. What I'm going to do for right now is I'm going to show my shopping cart, and I'm actually going to remove those. I don't know if that fully removed it, but it looks like it removed it. Yeah, there it goes. So then after we get all our parts figured out, then we will finalize it. It is 8:30 at night, so our parts won't get here till 8 a.m. tomorrow. So we're just going to take our time getting familiar with how this game works. So let's shut this hood. So the first thing that I recommend you do, and this is just personal preference, but you need to move this vehicle, and you got to move them so they don't just show up in their spots anymore. So I also, if you're going to do any kind of job repairs like these, I recommend you start in the diagnostic pass if you can, and do all these that you can do. You do get some XP, I think, for doing some of this stuff. That might be where I got my XP earlier. And just follow the prompts. And then just kind of just go through everything. This thing can be kind of a pain in the butt because you will roll all these rollers. If you just get on it just close enough, it'll reset you where you need to be. Taking a little bit to get used to what buttons to press at times, so it'll be muscle memory once I get to playing this all the time. Barely fits, but it fits. One drink. Okay, so now that it's done doing all that, I'm just going to sit here for a minute. Normally I would get to moving, but if you look at my parts list here, there's Z for category. I can just hit Z and go back and forth between these 2. So we can see all of our brake parts that we know that need to be repaired. So now if you didn't know, because they don't tell you sometimes, then now you know. Same thing with suspension. If there's more than one page, you just E or Q to go back and forth through that list. So now we're done here. All we got to do is just back out. There's no hitting the escape, and you can only go so fast. You can just hold down the throttle all you want. It ain't going any faster. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this in this bay here. I know I should probably put it on the lift. What's kind of cool is I can park anywhere I want to in this place. I can park like this all day long. I mean, if I want to park it back here, I can leave it back here. That's one thing I like about this. We can put this anywhere we want to put it. And after you stop, give it a second, it'll eventually pop up. You can get out if you parked where you want to be parked. So something I didn't talk about earlier, and we're going to talk about now before I mess with that, was the toolbox. Now, the reason I held off on this is because it's kind of tied in with your XP, and to get XP, there's various things you can do. But you got to unlock stuff. So, for example, to unlock the Swift Hands to stage 1, we got to have skill point 1, which is based through your XP, but you also got to unscrew 250 bolts. And strong arms, it does something similar, and you just kind of keep going down the list. Also, first glance is examining parts. That's why I recommend you go through those test paths. There's a lot of things you can do initially when you first get a vehicle, and I've went over this in the past iterations of Car Mechanic Simulator, where you can boost your XP as much as possible, even for very, very simple jobs. And we're going to get into that here in a second. But there's 3 pages of this, well, over 2 and a third of a page. But there's just all kind of different stuff, you know, the subscription thing here. You know, the next upgrade, instead of it being every 48 hours, will be updated every 24 hours. So just gets quicker. You know, scavenger, being able to search faster, you know, depending upon how you're playing the game. You know, you can go through here and get all this stuff. 2% discount junkyard, that's going to be a nice one if you're going junkyarding. You know, estimate your car values. I don't know about that one yet. You know, we get a 10%, 20% additional credits for finishing bonus orders. We haven't went over the bonus orders that good yet. But there's all kind of stuff. Visual inspection is something I would recommend doing a lot, other than going that test path, and that's what we're going to do here. What I usually do, in the other game, I would pull onto the lift, but you go in to look at your engine, and then you do your pie wheel, which is right click on the mouse, and go to your additional tools, and just, I would find a spot that you're used to. I don't use the drain tools unless I'm needing them, so I always start here. We'll do a fuel pressure test. And as you're doing this, you'll see the XP going up. We're getting 1 XP for each item it's examining. And even though you're not going to do no engine work, this is still good to do, just to get that extra XP. And then do your tire tread tester. And I'm only going to do it on this vehicle. The next 2 vehicles and those videos will be a little bit quicker. And we won't be wasting a lot of time on this. And hopefully this video won't be stupid long. But you just go through and do different stuff. As you can see, the tools are different. They've changed. They're still pretty similar, have a lot of the same noises that are annoying. I don't like that arcing. It sounds weird. And sorry, I have a bad habit of cracking my knuckles sitting here waiting on this stuff to do its thing. Let's see, we'll do compression test. I mean, just by doing this stuff here, you can get some XP pretty quick. Taking things apart and putting it back together, parts off and on. Even if it's the same part, if you really want to be bored out of your wits, see, we just leveled. And there's our list of those parts. Those are good. But now we just leveled. We're level 2 now. And just from sitting here and doing this, it didn't cost us no money. It cost us some time, which in this game is kind of special. But the one thing I didn't go over in the orders as this is finishing up is there are some orders that want to be done in a timely fashion. You get a bonus for completing those. If you go past the time, it doesn't fail the mission. It just turns into a standard mission. So that's the stuff we can do with that. Doing the engine diagnostics there. The other thing you can do too, and you got to be kind of out here in this mode, use the hood open helps, is you go into this examination mode. And this is a little bit different than the last iteration. It will show you, you know, that cannot be examined. That cannot be examined, but the engine can. It's got 16 more things that can be examined. So you just hold down the mouse button. And I wish you could just hold down space or something, because after a while you're clicking so much your pointer finger could use a break. And as you upgrade this, this will go faster. But you're getting 1 XP for everything it's checking. And it's just a visual inspection. And I'm not going to do the whole car. Well, we may. But that's all the engine. And then you can do it to the air intake, which is going to do it to the box, all the clips, the lid, and the actual filter. And so it's going to vary upon the vehicle. We can do it with the washer reservoir. Battery cannot be examined. We can do the coolant reservoir, our steering reservoir. See, these are newer ones that you couldn't do before. The fuse box, which is just the box and the lid, that was done in the electronics. Now, normally, to be more realistic, I would put the car on the left and I would do the suspension, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it, put it on the ground just for safety's sake of the video and speed and a little bit of time. We'll go ahead and do this one. Now, the only reason I'm going to go ahead and do these is because we do have to do brake work and stuff. So and it did talk about some suspension issues. And it never hurts to check a lot of this stuff. You can do the exhaust, both sides. Sometimes you need to do it in multiple areas. So like there's another section there, just both sides. And then you come back here, you can do the right side suspension, or that's the driver's side, I'm sorry, it's on my right. You got your main suspension, which you can check the rest of this. The other side of the suspension, passenger side, I mean. Oh man, I get my things all mixed up. You got the rest of the exhaust right here to check. I think the mufflers too, looks like. Yep, and then the mufflers. Can't examine the fuel tank. And then that. Oh, and the suspension down here, I forgot about the cross member. Any cross members you can do too. And that's pretty much most of it. You can't check the coolant or the cooling system, things like that. Now to get out of this mode, you can hit escape and it gets rid of it. You can also usually walk away and it just does that for you. So let's go ahead and close the hood on this old girl. We need to put this on the lift because we know we need to do suspension. If you walk up and just straight up enter the vehicle, it will automatically put you with the engine running and stuff. Oh, let's get lined up here. So the lift's is kind of cool because it just tells you to get in, and when it turns green, you're done. Get out. There it goes. Now there was an issue where in one of the patches they fixed where this door would be, and it still clips a little bit, but it would be open all the way through. Because you can open any of these doors. See, the door's only opening so far because it's on the left. And the trunk will open all the way. And then we can obviously open the hood here. The lift is still pretty much the same, except the buttons have changed. So you just kind of do this. Click up. Now, there's multiple different ways that you can work on this. For a start, what we're going to do is we're going to look at our car status. You see, I've already got those on my shopping list. I can go ahead and add all this to the shopping list. And let's see, change oil. It doesn't say anything about an oil filter. Is that in that list? Oh, the oil filter's over there. And then the other task is just changing fluids, so there's nothing to purchase there. Now we got that. We go to tablet, and we can go and order all of our stuff. So what I'll do, this is a little bit slower doing it this way. This is all our stuff. So there's our tie rods. This is a little bit slower than what I'm used to. Our oil filter, brake shoe, brake pads, and our brake disc, and that's all ordered. So this ain't it, because you're not done. You need to show your shopping cart, and then you need to hold down and finalize that purchase. That'll be here at 8 a.m. Now, I'm not going to worry about it too much in this one here, but normally I try to do one corner at a time, because that way I don't run into issues. It just takes a little bit longer, and I apologize if the noise is a little loud. I'm going to have to listen to the video shortly, just enough to make sure I got the audios where I need them. It's loud to me, at least. I can tell you that, actually. Part out. Let me do something real fast. Just to be safe on the settings. Let's turn it down to 25%. Oh, yes. Okay. So remember, the other thing we could do too is we can mark in here what parts need to be changed. So we're going to go ahead and highlight all this. It'll get a little ugly. But we're enough brake shoes. So caliper needs to go. You can utilize this time now to just go ahead and take the parts apart that you need to take apart. Only what you need to take off. Oh, they added brake caliper brackets too, which is kind of cool. And we'll get that off. So that part's done. So we can just go ahead and just kind of get this going. And and get done what we need to do. And then we'll go sleep until it's close to 8 a.m. Grab our parts, and then we just throw all the parts on here and send the customer about their way. As you can see, I still have some of my habits from playing the regular car mechanic game. I zoomed in on that. I didn't want to do that. And if we had our brake lathe, we could probably lathe these brakes. Ooh, not guess that. Oil filter. Then it will let us maybe cheat that way. Skim our way to the next parts. I apologize I hadn't got a video out before this. It's just some of the stuff that I had going on at the time with some of my medical stuff. I just honestly just didn't feel like doing anything. And when I did play games, it was limited to length and stuff like that. And I still am a little bit. I apologize I didn't get some of these done sooner. Once this game does come out, I will probably be doing several videos on it. So that's pretty much that. All right. So we remember in the other video, I talked about you can move this around and it would kind of give you the arrow. So you put it there and it will line it up perfectly, and then hit the deal to use it like usual. Done. And then we'll put this back roughly over there somewhere. And we're going to go ahead and lower this down. We're going to go ahead and put oil in it and add the 2 fluids, or do the 2 changes it wanted. Let's go ahead and put our oil in first so we don't forget it. Oh, it won't let me without the oil filter. Huh, wow, I didn't remember that part, but okay. All right, so what else did it need? Want to do change the brake fluid and refill the windshield washer fluid. So to change fluids, what you're going to need to do is go in your tools, and you're going to need a drain tool, and then click on the cap, and it will pull all the fluid out of it. You do that for brakes, pretty much all the fluids other than oil is basically what you do that for. Then once you're done with that, and hit escape, and you're back in this mode, and then you can hold down and actually fill this thing back up. We cannot put oil in it. That was surprising. That's the first one. It makes sense though. There's that, and they wanted washer fluid. They did change some of the sounds so that actually sounds like water instead of an oil jug like it used to. All right, so that's all we can do. So what we're going to do is go ahead and put this thing back up in the air. And I'm going to go ahead, while we've got time to save, I'm going to take these. I'm going to kind of show you the warehouse real quick, and then we're going to sleep. So we ordered brake shoes, if I'm remembering correctly, and these are still okay-ish. You may have a job that could use them. It's up to you whether you want to keep them. But anyways, if you want to keep them, you can either click and then click each one to move, or if you look down here, you got enter opens the stack, and then enter moves the stack. So, and that's holding down enter. And I tried doing this just by holding down the left mouse. Does not work. So I can hold down and just move that whole stack, and I can go to the outer tie rods and do the same thing. The rest of these are pretty well garbage, but I'm gonna wait till we got all our parts before I get rid of everything. So now we're just gonna go ahead and go upstairs. If we cut through here, and we gotta sleep until around 8 a.m. So we're looking at about a 7-hour nap. By the time we get up and walk out back, the parts probably will be here. So there's a little bit of animation, and I would like for the animation to be a little bit different. But we're going to get up at 7:56, and then we got to hold down enter or your left mouse. And then you get this little cutscene where you kind of watch the time change and all that stuff. And I guess in theory I should have closed all my garage doors and stuff, but ain't nobody going to come in here and bite me. So that's 8 a.m. and now you see at the top left our parts are already here, so that kind of timed out nice. So we'll go out here and grab our parts. And it was just one order. Sometimes if you order big stuff or a whole lot of stuff, you might have several boxes out here, but you click on that and it automatically puts it all in your pocket. So now we can start back where we left off and put our parts on. Hope this is the right one. I've had issues in the past with doing stuff like this, and you're doing, like, say, brakes, and you go and you put the tire back on or something, and it'll tell you that it's got the wrong tire wheel. That's why I normally do them one corner at a time, but for video's sake, I'm doing it this way. I mean, it's just a demo, so if it decides it wants to be stingy, then that'll be a lesson we get to learn together. Come on. Get over here so I can see something. All right, start with this, I guess. Auto zoom can be a little bit of a pain. Let's go and throw our oil filter in here. New one, please. Oh, hold up, brake check. Take that back off. The new one, dummy. Oh, this one. I don't know why I was trying to put the old one on. Wait a minute. Oh, that's because I still have them in my pocket. That's probably why. They don't tell me we got Wi-Fi storage boxes now. Even though that would be kind of cool. Especially for your garage, your warehouse. That'd be nice. I used to play a game that actually had an option for that. One of the mods. It was really nice. But I don't play that game anymore, so. This one, these on. Sorry, I was looking at something while I was doing that. I think the expert mode of this will be pretty interesting, which is I'll probably do a video series when this comes out. Probably an easy mode, and then we may later on do a video series, an expert, or I might just do an expert mode by myself without the audience, so to speak. Because you notice that everything that I had lit up blue turned correct, unblued or unhighlighted after completions. So now if we look through here, you can see I got the green line here for completing these two, and it wrote them off my list. And the same thing here. So all these are done. And now all we got to do is just finish putting oil in it. And then we're done. Well, I say we're done. We did some suspension work, and it doesn't say to, but I will still do an alignment on this car before we ship it out. I've noticed that putting oil in is pretty much the same as before, same keys. I've always just kept holding it until I start seeing oil spew like that. And every time by doing that, and I'll even confirm this, it's right on the max line. It's not over. So if you continue to hold it, you might run it overfilled, but that's just how it goes. It'd be hard to squeeze in here, but yeah, now we fit. All right, let's start this up. Oh, that's right. Let's get out of the car. Let's try this again. So you gotta make sure you take it all the way down on the lift dummy. I don't know who forgot to do that, but squeeze in here again. Now we can drive. And this game is also supposed to be able to work with controller, but you're going to have to kind of pick. Ooh, see how funny the thing drives? Yep. I was doing that. I don't know if y'all saw that. We're not doing that. We're going to come in here and do an alignment. Let's get out of this thing. here. It's a little weird on some of that, but like you got to click in the right spot. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's just how it's supposed to be. But now it's aligned. So now, as y'all saw, it was driving kind of funky. And let's take this for another drive real quick. We're not going to go far with it. And now it drives nice and straight. You can also get crazy with these vehicles, lock up the brakes and do stuff like that. Don't tell the customer. And I don't think you have to in here, but I think it's just nice to park it right here for the customer. And we'll hit the right button and we'll get out of the vehicle instead of hitting escape all the time. And let's see, status. So now we know everything's all done on here. We know it drives right. We go to car summary and we can hold down or enter or left mouse to finish that job, and it is done. Done like dinner, folks. So it wasn't too bad. I was actually, we're sitting at 31 minutes here, so that's not too bad. I don't have a clue. Oh, I gotta put this stuff in the warehouse. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm going to shut down the video. I'm gonna go throw this stuff in the warehouse. And I think I might do another video on the second car. It'll be a little bit quicker because we're not going to go through every detail. I mean, this is just a demo, so we're not trying to make a career out of this. I wanted to just kind of show off some of the stuff. So yeah, we'll do another video on the other next car. So I'll see you back here in a little bit, guys.